TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, baby, higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
From the ECSI Sports Studios and the #1 sports investors in America, we bring you the closing bell. As the market closes, legends Jeff Dawson and Riley Magnuson bring you all the sports investing tips for tonight's matchups. If you want to learn more from the two legends at the desk, make sure you stay tuned to the closing bell.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the day for the closing bell, Monday, August 19th. You survived the weekend, you're here, and yes, Amber, the WagerWire app is awesome, and we can't wait to get into the football season. Got a lot of stuff up my sleeve here, what ECSI will be doing on a day-to-day basis on that app, and actually buying and making some great parlays, selling them, and at RT Sports and a few other platforms. So super stoked. Thank you so much for showing up here. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud partnership and sponsor, WagerWire. If you haven't downloaded the app, head on over to Google Play. It's free. And I promise you, Zach, Travis, Amber, myself, Riley, the rest of this ECSI team will take great care of you. Not just the start of football season. We'll take you through the rest of 2024 and beyond. Trust me on that one. And a shout out to Viva Tequila Seltzer, CT Betts, the rest of his team and family, the best in the business for tequila seltzers. Try their new flavor, coconut. Let's go cuckoo for coconut. You'll enjoy it. Tell them ECSI sent you there. Now, back from the IR, back from the ER, Mr. I'm going to call you Spidey. We're going to call you Spidey himself, Riley Magnuson. What's up, champ?
What is up, my friend? Maybe Southside Spidey? I mean, you call me Southside Riley, Southside Spidey. Thankfully not the ER, but yes, I had some issues on Friday with a nasty spider bite on my leg, and I will not share the picture on Twitter because it's a little gross. I felt bad, but I had to show you on Friday that it was a real issue. So on the on the mend, I'm all good. I'm ready to rock and roll. I had some little treatment on that, but we're back in business. So Southside Spidey, I don't hate that. Not fast and agile like Spider-Man, but maybe I got to test it out. I guess my newfound powers from that. Who knows? But nonetheless, ready to rock for a new week, my friend. Had a fun weekend of sports action, UFC, golf, obviously baseball all weekend long, and just a few more days until we are back with some college football this upcoming weekend. I am ready to rock with that. Ease into it, obviously, week 0 here, but the first couple of weeks, maybe a nice couple of matchups, but there's some not too bad matchups coming up. So I am so ready for that. We are winding down on another week of preseason football in the NFL, and then obviously moving and grooving with week 1 of the NFL season. So I am ready to start wherever you are, my friend. Love our typical Monday recap shows. Obviously, a lot to talk about over the weekend.
Yeah, we'll use the Felger and Maz re-entry Monday motto here. As you said, a lot transpired. I'm going to start in golf. Shout out to Brady, Kannon here at Tea Time Wagers every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern. Pre-flop winner this week with Hideki Matsuyama. And listen, he did everything but the kitchen sink. He was trying to give that thing away, and thank God he gave it away and said, "No, no, no, I'll take it back." Thoughts on Hideki? Thoughts on him moving forward, Riley?
Yes, I'm trying to pull up the updated odds for the FedEx Cup itself. I mean, he's in third place now. He's 12-1 to win the whole damn thing, and in third place in the FedEx Cup standing. So now a very, very real player for that. I mean, we talked about him. I don't remember how long ago it was, but we talked about him a few weeks ago as a guy who had a chance to salvage his season. I think it was at the I think it was the Olympics we were talking about this, and he obviously wins bronze. So not the full statement he was looking for, but after an injury, a lot of injuries this season, some good play here and there. Get a bronze at the Olympics, and now first place in this one to get yourself top 3 right now in the FedEx Cup standings with one more before the big one. He's obviously got a chance to make a mark on this season, let alone salvage it and have a positive boost into the next season. So he is back with a vengeance, and I'm interested to see how he goes in these next couple of weeks here. But obviously, and obviously no scrubs that he was fighting off at the top of the leaderboard there. You got some studs in the top 5 there. Victor Hovland, the other guy, I think he finished, what was it, second or third this past weekend? Was it tied for second or third? Tied for second was Xander there. So another guy who's obviously been maybe the biggest disappointment, at least out of the guys who have stuck on the PGA Tour. You can throw John Rahm in there for what his expectations are as biggest disappointments this year. But, Victor Hovland with, some of the bad tournaments that he's had, if he can turn things around and have one more good tournament heading into the Tour Championship. I think he's 16th right now, I saw, in the FedEx Cup standing, so he's around again. He's in place to be there for the Tour Championship. But, if he can put together another nice tournament, he'll be in good standing to try and make a run at things for the last finale there. So that's another guy who maybe you wouldn't say salvage the season, but you would say salvage the season a little bit. Still wouldn't put a statement season by any means, but at the very least, Victor is obviously one of the biggest candidates to turn things around and get a boost going into next season after the season he's had this year, my friend.
And you go back to last year, and it was, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it Victor that got hot, right? 1, 2, 3, holds the cup up. And we were talking back at the Olympics, and, here you go. Matsuyama wins bronze after obviously an epic Sunday of Scotty Scheffler. Scotty will start as of right now -10. Currently Xander -8, who had a great charge of his own on Sunday there. And then you got Matsuyama, who would currently be starting 7 under. A course, by the way, not this week, the next week, that Xander owns, but they're knocking on the door. They're waiting for a Scheffler meltdown. They're waiting for that putter to stay cold. We still got this week, and then we go to the last week of the regular season in the FedEx Cup. Riley, outside looking in, I mean, obviously currently Scotty's to win and not lose, but would you feel more comfortable with a Xander, Matsuyama, tricky Victor here, or would you feel comfortable with Scotty?
I mean, if Victor goes out, because Victor won this upcoming one. What is the BMW? I think this upcoming one, and that catapulted him. Like you said, he was red hot, and then he obviously won the whole thing last year. If he comes out, Victor, and wins this upcoming week, then I think all alarms for Xander or Scotty got to be up, because if he can go tied for second and then win heading into that Tour Championship. I don't know. I'm not a master of the FedEx Cup standings of where he would be ranked at if Victor were to win that one, but you would have to. But I would have to see it again for me right now to say that I'm, expecting Victor to make a huge push. I think right now he's still 80-1 to win the whole, FedEx Cup Championship there. So I would really have to see him put together an awesome tournament again. Sitting here right now to say I could see him going in there, but as it stands right now, yeah, I mean, you got to feel with the way Xander's been playing. you go back to the Olympics. Obviously, Scotty has that fantastic finish on Sunday, and a few guys fall apart. Xander was better for the first 3 days, and again, that means boo when it comes to, obviously, Scotty's the one with the gold medal. But we've talked about it before. I am not trying to take anything away from Scotty and where he's at right now. He's still the best in the world, and he's still fantastic, but he's not playing as dominantly as he was from whatever it was, March through June, July. I don't know the stretch off the top of my head right now, but again, he's still playing fantastic. As I think I said this as we were going into the Olympics, and then he obviously wins gold. So is it likely that he wins the FedEx Cup? Yeah, absolutely. But he just isn't playing quite as dominantly as he was. So it's not crazy to suggest that Xander or if Victor gets hot or one of these guys, I mean, especially Matsuyama now, if he's rolling along, can catch him here. So, of course, Scotty's going to be the likely candidate. And I mean, he's still the favorite at odds-on favorite. He's minus 125 to win the whole damn thing. So that's obviously likely. But at the end of the day, it's safe. You can kind of comfortably take a look at some of these other guys at plus money because until we see him turn it on for 4 straight days, he's just not quite as hot as he was for those few months there.
And people have to understand, and I don't use the C word. I hate and despise in sports paid athletes. When people on social media, you give them a platform and, they think they can write and say whoever they want and wherever they are, blah, 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 blah. There are golf tournaments, I go back to Rory in the Open where he missed the 2-3 foot putts and he had made a bazillion in a row. Shit happens, guys. It's like you standing over a 3-footer for a $20 NASA. These guys are talking millions and millions of dollars here. So what Scotty did to get the gold took a out-of-body experience. What Rory did, last year to come, they have different gears in the bag. What Matsuyama is doing, what Victor is doing. If Scotty goes out and shoots 67 and one of these guys goes out and shoots a 61 and 62, Scotty didn't lose that tournament. Someone came and took it from him. So what you're seeing in front of you, whether it's Xander being Xander right now or out-of-body experiences from Victor or Matsuyama, don't forget Scotty's going to start with a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 shot lead with 72 holes to go from some of these guys. Is he favored to win? Yeah. Listen, if you're a Scotty believer, go lay the minus 120 or 125. But what I am saying right now out loud here, Vegas is kind of begging you to go take the minus 120 or 125 because I think there's an inkling that they believe it might not be Scotty.
Yeah, and again, I think if you're going to say the way he's still consistently playing, obviously he fell off a little bit on Sunday at the Olympics. He didn't win this tournament. He was still 15 under, tied for second. Xander, I mean, he's been playing better than Scotty on aggregate over the last 2 months here. Again, would you take Xander's season over Scotty's season with the major and all the wins and the Olympic gold? Probably not, despite the 2 majors. But at the end of the day, Xander's been better these last 2 months. So, as long as, there's not a major change here. Again, I'm not a master of the FedEx Cup points, so if Matsuyama wins, I don't know if he leapfrogs Xander. I really don't know. But that would obviously hurt him if he's, 3-4 shots behind Scotty as opposed to the 1-2 shots, whatever it is. I think 2 shots behind him there. So, but Xander's going to have a great chance, and you can absolutely, sleep pretty good knowing that you got some plus money on Xander if you go ahead and take it.
I'm going to switch gears to UFC, and you know me, I butcher the names here. I need you to go back. We always say Alex Pereira is a bad man. He beat, can you pronunciate the guy's name that he beat not once but twice now?
Are we talking Prochaska?
Prochaska. Okay, so after the Prochaska fight, the second time, he was talking about potential retirement. And I talk about in fights, there's certain guys that have your number. You were just not trained isn't the right. You're just not built to beat them. Okay? So DPP beats Israel, and now on social media, did we overrate Israel, Adesanya? And you want a trained assassin. a guy with leg kicks that won't knock you out, could potentially kill you. DPP wins. Now the naysayers coming out attacking Israel. Thoughts on the main event fight? Thoughts on DPP? I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but my question to you on the naysayers about Israel Adesanya.
I think he's just not quite as good as he was, whatever it was now, 4 or 5 years ago when he was making his huge run. Maybe there wasn't a true serious contender in his way when he was on his win streak. But I mean, just go back and watch some of the fights when Izzy was on his win streak and was at the top of the sport. I mean, the guy was as accurate, as technical as it gets. He had full control of every fight that he was in. A couple of them are boring, but he knew exactly what he needed to do to win those fights. So, I think there's just been a lot of, once you get some tape out on him and you figure out how to beat him, I guess you could say a little bit that might be the case, but we've kind of seen that now. Once you put a little extra weight on some of these guys and some size across from him, that's kind of one of his weaknesses there. But I mean, the talent and the skill level against him has risen. But I mean, I don't think we're done with him. I think we could see him come back. I mean, he bounced back and got the revenge against Pereira after he loses the first time. So. I don't think we're overrating him, especially not 4 years ago. He was that good. Is he where he was then? No, I don't think so. But he's still going to put up some fights, and he's still going to, I don't think this is his last title shot either. Whether it's a rematch against Duplessis or not, I don't know. But I think he will be back, and we'll see, another nice stretch from him, and we'll see some good fights from him. But Duplessis, I mean, he is so damn good himself. I don't know. I'm just trying to pull up the rest of that division to see who we could potentially see in front of him. But he is so sound. He is so technical, and I don't know what it's going to take. He's so well-rounded, and that's we're at a point now. I think part of the reason why we don't have as many stars is because a lot of these guys are so damn well-rounded, where they're not that excellent at knockout strength or anything like that. But at the end of the day, he is really, really good, and I don't know if it's Sean Strickland coming back against him for another rematch next, or he's fought the 3 top-ranked contenders in that division is his last 3 wins. So it's another spot where it's like, are we getting a rematch with one of these guys? It's it's not like he completely wiped the floor with all these guys. He had a split decision against Strickland, so maybe that gives Strickland the leg up on a rematch here, but. He is a nasty man, and he deserves every flower that he's getting here. So I don't know what's next for him, but like you said, whether that's trying to get a second belt and a fight against someone else in one of these other divisions, I don't know, but it was impressive stuff. And again, I think part of the thing that makes it that impressive is he's not quite where he was, but he's still a very, very smart and very technical fighter and extremely accurate striker. So that makes it that much more impressive what he was able to do and what anyone that's beaten him has been able to do. So you can't come in there half-assed or ill-prepared against them. Everyone that's come in and fought him and has been so prepared and so ready to go and so locked in. So. He has really risen, and I'm talking about Izzy again, he has risen the level of focus and competition from the rest of that division, and that's kind of why we're seeing the win-loss stretch now from Adesanya that we're seeing here.
Before we get to the rest of the card and what your eyes saw, I thought I heard Dana White handpick a heavyweight for Pereira. And the name is, I should have wrote it down, and I apologize there. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see that?
Are we talking? I didn't see it. Again, I need to be more tapped into the headlines and what matchups are coming up now, because I'm not as tapped into that. I've been more of this is what's happening. Here we go. So no, I don't know. Maybe it could be Tom Aspinall. That's who's obviously hot right now. I don't know if that's
it was like I think he was like a number 10 or 12th ranked. It was a name that I'm not that familiar with. Well, we can talk more about that. It was just I was going to lean to the fact, oh, here we go. Pereira's his meal ticket. He wants him to stay where he is, but Pereira knows there could be some big money fights with Tom, as you said there, or of course, a DPP, or God forbid, a John Jones, which no one's going to get in front of there. So was curious there. What did your eyes see the rest of the fight on Saturday? Anything stick out to you? Any slouches, any bums, or it was just business as usual?
Well, there's I was expecting a lot of these Australian fighters to show up. There obviously was some that did. I mean, we another fight where we have to question what the hell happened with one of the judges, and really need to look deeper into this. So the fact that Tai Tuivasa and Jairzinho Rozenstruik was not only a split decision, but they gave all 3 rounds to Tai Tuivasa is an absolute disgrace. I mean, Rozenstruik said it in the presser afterwards, like no way he lost that second round. And again, it was on obviously Tai Tuivasa's pretty much home turf there. So. That's obviously you can't be biased if that's what the case was. I don't remember if the judge was Australian or not, but absolutely disgraceful there. I mean, Rozenstruik, he is probably going to get some big fights coming up here. He's only 12th in the heavyweight division. That was a 10 versus 12 fight, but he's going to start getting some big fights. He's been a huge fighter for a long time, so he's been really impressive lately. But obviously the heavyweight division is one where you make one mistake and you get caught and you're out. And you had a little bit of a stretch where you had some losses against some really good competition, but he's got a couple in a row now and he's looked really good. So Rozenstruik is going to be on the way up in those rankings there. I do still really like Tai Tuivasa, but ever since he's kind of gone up into the rankings and commanded that respect, and yeah, I mean, he's on a 5-fight losing streak at this point here, and it's all against really bad dudes. So, curious if he, tries to stay in the rankings there, or if he tries to slip a little bit to get himself back on track. I don't know. But he's a fan favorite, so he's not going anywhere. He's still pretty young, and people are, big fans. I mean, he's 31, but he's still got some time left on him, especially at the heavyweight division there. Walter Walker, this one I think was the last fight on the prelims, fought Junior Tafa. He was really good and called out Junior Tafa's brother, so that I have to imagine is going to be a fight. That was his second fight in the UFC, so I think we're going to start seeing Walker rise up through the ranks there. That's someone's brother, Jimmy Walker, I think's brother, so that's he's obviously going to be a name that kind of rises up. Further down, I mean, we saw some. It was these prelims fights were actually pretty entertaining, or at the very least, you saw some really good stuff from some of these guys. Jack Jenkins, again, it was on his home turf, but you had Herbert Burns, if anyone saw that, kind of rolling around on the floor all fight long. But Jack Jenkins looked fantastic. Casey O'Neill, a women's flyweight fight. That was supposed to be a really good fight, and she was a short dog in that one, I believe, against Luana Santos. She looked really solid there. I was expecting big things from Li Liang. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that one. He last time we saw him was a couple of years ago. Kind of came back and just wasn't quite himself there. So I was expecting a little bit more from him. But Carlos Paredes looked really impressive. That was his. He's only had 3 fights now in the UFC. He's probably going to take a big boost of competition next. Was really surprised by the performance from Dan Hooker. Again, another guy on his home turf who stepped up and, as a big dog, took care of business there. Split decision. But Mateus Gamrot was on a really nice run of, 7-1 in his last 8 fights heading into that one, and was rising up. So that one was really impressive. Dan Hooker, a guy who kind of looked like he was another one of those guys who, his last 2 fights before this weren't against huge talent. Not bad, obviously, but not against huge talent. But fought some bad men for 4 or 5 times and was taking some licks. Poirier, Michael Chandler losses, gets a win in a bounce back, and then loses to Makhachev and Arnold Allen. So it looked like he was on his way down. But 2 wins now in a row, especially against Gamrot, is going to put him back in. I don't know where he was in the rankings necessarily. After this, but that one was a huge one where I was happy to see. He's a fan favorite, obviously. He was 11th in the rankings, so could see him against one of these. I mean, that lightweight division is just stacked with popular guys. I mean, that is the one that's littered with the most star power. So we're probably going to see Dan Hooker against a potential star, or against a star in his next potential fight there, and then. Kai France has been a guy that I've been a fan of. I was honestly surprised. Steve Erceg, no disrespect to him, I was surprised to see Kai France as big of a dog as he was. Part of it was he lost a couple of his last 2 fights heading into that one. But another guy who showed up on his home turf, obviously both those guys were from this Australia, New Zealand, Kai France, New Zealand. But he showed up. And he is a guy that's kind of that perfect category of guys you're excited to see. He's probably not going to be too many main events on any pay-per-views, but you're going to be excited to see him on the undercard, whether it be a prelim on a major fight or, this is, probably about as big as it gets for him billing-wise. I don't remember if it was second or third fight, but that was a huge win against a guy, Steve Erceg, who's flying up the UFC ranks up until that point. So I think both those guys are probably going to have a huge fight that's not going to set Steve Erceg back too far, but Kai France was a guy that I've been a fan of, and I was really impressed with him showing up there. So I don't know. I hit on just about most of them there, except for a couple of the early ones there. So it was a fun night. A couple knockouts. So we bounced back a little bit from some boring weeks, my friend. Not the breaking the internet worthy UFC card, but it was at least a good, entertaining sit down and have a nice evening watching some fights here.
Great job, as always, in the UFC there, Mr. Riley Magnuson. We're going to call you Southside Spidey from here on out. So, we no need to talk baseball. My Red Sox are floundering. They travel tonight to Houston. Kikuchi versus Houck. We'll get to baseball in a second. With Labor Day 2 weeks away, week 3 in the preseason, Labor Day weekend, we're at week 0 of football. The following week, give us what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what your eyes are telling you about the Packers. I will tell you, I am in a slow draft as we speak. We're, I think, round 13 or 14. We did put our hat on. We had a decision, too. There were a couple quarterbacks in front of us. Joe Burrow was one, and there was someone else. We put our stamp on Mr. Jordan Love, and he goes out and poops the bed this weekend, but I don't really care about preseason. I just want to see him stay healthy. Did see a crazy tweet saying this was by FanDuel. Who says no? Christian Watson, a first, a second, and something else for CD Lamb, which I thought was kind of interesting, of course. Watson, who can't stay healthy. Jesus, I got Jordan Love, and I got, CD Lamb to the right. I got Romeo Dubs. I got Wicks. I got, Musgrove. And how's Packer camp going, my brother?
Yeah, it was ugly last night, but Jordan Love did not play last night, so it was an ugly offensive showing. But no Jordan Love. I don't think many really of the offensive starters played. So the Broncos took it to the Pack, but it was a lot of their first team against the Packers, deep second team there. So all is well for the most part. It's been pretty quiet for the most part. But you bring up receivers, and that's would I be upset with that? Absolutely not. I'm a big CeeDee Lamb fan, but not typically the type of move you see from the Packers. And I would say the biggest buzz is you've got a wide receiver room now filled with second and third year guys as opposed to first and second year guys that a lot of people are very, very excited for. You got Wicks, who, just by name right now has been probably the fourth guy, but we'll see what happens come the next couple of weeks here, because he's been kind of showing out in practice quite a bit there. And you've got a couple other guys that in Malik Heath and Bo Melton that you really like. So there's a lot of guys that it's going to be hard. They might whether they want to keep 6 receivers or not. I don't know. They might have to get creative and see if they can package whether it be Bo Melton, Malik Heath for someone else, because they just have so many receivers that are playing so well coming into this thing right now. So. A lot of love coming out, no pun intended. A lot of love coming towards that wide receiver room right now, and especially we saw 3-4 plays in week 1 of preseason of Jordan Love looking solid. So feeling pretty good there. Defensively, still curious to what we're going to see with new defensive coordinator there. So I think a lot of people are kind of tempering their expectations, not because they're not hopeful, but we've seen plenty of defensive coordinators come in and you get excited because you like what's on paper, and then the defensive coordinator comes in and is not a high approval rating right off the bat. So that is something I'm optimistic for. Is a better defensive, more consistent defensive unit coming this way for the Packers. But that'll be a time will tell. If that's a top half of the league defense or if things don't go well. A mediocre defense or not. But special teams is another one where the Packers have struggled the last few years. So kind of curious to see what we have there. Again, we've got Anders Carlson who missed a big kick in the Niners game in the playoffs last year. So that one's still kind of a question mark of how has he improved? Has he locked in a little bit better for that job? And really the number 2 running back spot. Obviously A.J. Dillon by name is in that spot, but it's not set in stone. You got Emmanuel Wilson, who's been with the Pack for a couple of years now, and Marshawn. I'm already drawing a blank on his name. Rookie.
Lloyd.
Lloyd, yeah, thank you. I should obviously know that one myself. I was Lattimore was Marshawn. Too many Marshawns in my head there.
Well, you got Lattimore and Lynch, but you got Lloyd. How's
yes,
that?
Lloyd, that's right. He was already banged up with some hamstring injuries, so that's set him back a little bit there. So curious to see what we get out of that number 2 running back spot behind Josh Jacobs there. So. I guess the only thing that I'd be worried about, especially with the lack of no starters offensively playing last night in week 2, doesn't sound like many starters are going to play in week 3. Is we've seen the Packers in week 1 start pretty slow after not really giving much of a go in that preseason into week 1. It was better, I know, the last year. I think they came out and played the Bears and won, obviously, but. Curious what we're going to see the first week of the season. We've obviously had a couple of in the Matt LaFleur era, a couple of ugly week 1s. After not playing much in the preseason. So that one, at least for me, is a concern. But beyond that, feeling pretty good in Packerland right now, my friend.
Before we go to baseball, I think the division is kind of really set up for you. I mean, I'll give the Jeff Tears and some people like fall off their rocking chair. What are you smoking? Because the favorite in most of the heavily bets for the NFC is the 49ers. And truthfully, I think that window is closed. I think they've had over 25 injuries in preseason and training camp. CMC, is he going to stay healthy? The IU cold out. The list is endless there. Purdy struggling, yada, yada, yada. My point is they had an opportunity, and they didn't succeed. Truth be told, I think it's the Lions' year. They had a bite at the apple. I think they knew exactly what they need to do. They got kicked in the you-know-what last year. I think it's their conference to lose. With that said, I think you're going to get a bounce back in the Eagles. I think you're going to see the real Jalen Hurts. You got their wide receivers rich and happy right now. Their defense, which was touted as the next best thing, well, they stunk last year. They were SEC/Georgia defense. I think you're going to get a bounce back there. My point is, you got J.J. McCarthy out for the year. You got the hyper Caleb, the next coming of Patrick Mahomes, who, let me just tell you, I'm not here to disrespect Caleb. That wide receiver room, I am huge for fantasy people. Get DJ Moore this year. Trust me on that. And Keenan Allen, listen, you're going from San Diego to Chicago. I'll see it when I see it and believe it if he's still playing around Thanksgiving, because I know that hammy doesn't work well in the cold there. But Rome, whatever, Mr. Odunze is real there as well, and I like their defense. My point, Riley, is that division, Lions, and I got you right there.
Yeah.
Which Jordan Love are we going to see? The one that struggled the first half dozen games, or the one that put up a 40-burger in Dallas? So feeling comfortable before you travel to Brazil? I mean, would I be shocked if you won the division? I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised. But I expect you to be on the heels of the Lions. And no excuses. You are supposed to be second in this division and set comfortably in the playoff chase.
Right, and you said it perfectly. I mean, what Jordan Love are you going to get? If you get, I mean, if it's the same story last season where he looks like he did the first half and then, has stretches where he looks in the second half, then it might look very identical to what we saw last year. if he's, if what we saw in the second half is just what we're going to see going forward, then again, they're going to be almost undoubtedly the second team in that division, if not, like you said, fighting for that number 1 spot towards the end of the season there. So I'm with you. And as far as the 49ers, I was trying to pull the stat up that I was looking for there because I'm with you. They obviously still on paper have a very good team, but with the injuries and the wear and tear that they've had, they also I've drawn a blank on what it was, but they, as far as the schedule makers, didn't do them any favors with the amount of rest and the time in between games. I mean, there's been more data these last few years as far as, I can't remember if they have any cases like this, but 3 games in 10 days or teams coming in and they're getting a team when the Niners just played 6 days ago and the other team's got an extra, they coming off a bye or they got an extra 10 days. The rest advantage for the Niners, I believe, is very, very poor this year. So, which it was last year, and they made it through and they managed it. But 2 years in a row, having one of the worst, if not, I think it might be the worst rest disadvantage on a week-to-week basis on net, days is pretty outstanding that they have it again 2 years in a row like that. So it doesn't bode well for them to have that a second year in a row. And obviously, who knows? Again, I don't want to poo-poo what Brock Purdy did, but who knows what we see from him coming out of this year? We could see some regression from him as a thrower and as a quarterback there. So, again, are they a playoff team? Probably, as long as they don't have any catastrophic injuries. Probably. But it's going to be interesting here. And like you said, I do like the Packers. It would be a massive disappointment if they don't make the playoffs. And I think you're going to see. I mean, maybe I'm being poisoned by where I live here, but the couple preseason showings from Caleb Williams. Like you said, you'd think he. I saw one of my buddies, and obviously it was tongue in cheek, but posted a clip of Patrick Mahomes, and it was like, man, this guy sure does look like a Caleb Williams. And I was like, all right. You guys have had too much of a terrible history to be, gloating like that before this damn season even starts. So pump the brakes. But he does look, he is, if he stays healthy, he does look so much better than anything else they've had. And that Bears schedule is not that tough. It's one of the easier schedules. So, they're a team that wouldn't surprise me if they win, whether it's 9-8 or 10-7 and squeak into the playoffs. Obviously partially because they have more talent this year, but because of the schedule is not quite where it is. And again, like you said, who knows what we see from the Vikings, but if whatever we're saying about the Bears and Caleb Williams shows up and their schedule isn't that tough, the Vikings are probably 4th in that division. Let alone what we see out of the NFC East, what we get from the Eagles and Cowboys, and of course, the NFC West and NFC South is a question mark there. So. There's going to be a surprise, maybe whether it be a surprise or a team that we haven't seen much of lately in the playoffs in the NFC, in my opinion. It could be a couple of them this year.
Shout out to Daniel Berry, Berry Sports Highlights. Always pleasure to see you here, of course. Thank you for all your trust and support there. Schedule tonight kind of light. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games in all. Game going off at 6:40. That is the Diamondbacks travel to Miami. Fat versus All are there. As again, my Red Sox travel to Houston. The rejuvenated, rebirth, and reborn of Mr. Kikuchi versus Tanner Houck there. Some decent late night games. Your White Sox travel to San Francisco. I tell you, the Harrison kid has been.
If it's an omen for you on today, obviously it's basically the whole season. I was wearing a White Sox shirt today, and a bird shit on my shoulder. So
that's good luck.
Someone else said that to me, that it is good luck. So maybe it's the other way, and maybe we're taking the White Sox plus 200. But go ahead.
But no, Harrison, who's been awful of late against Kannon, and the number overnight was only 225. It hasn't moved. I bet you some people caught that you got pooped on. So you probably White Sox with the cannon. Sound the cannons! As my San Francisco Giants fade off into the sunset. But the board is yours. Have some fun with it. You see something you want to talk about it, I'm here for it.
Yes, absolutely. Baltimore and the Mets, a good, pretty good matchup here record-wise, obviously. Orioles tied with the Yankees. Mets in that wild card chase. They are 2 back of the Braves right now. So an important handful of, obviously end of the season for the Mets here. Trevor Rogers, David Peterson. Trevor Rogers, Coming over from in a trade from Miami. Not quite. The change of scenery has not quite done him well so far, my friend. All 3 starts, 6 or more hits. Had one where he was able to skirt out of some damage, but 2 of the 3 5-earned runs allowed, including this last one here. So has not been a fresh start for him yet. David Peterson, on the other hand, for the Mets, last 3 has been really, really good. 6 1/3, 3 hits, 1 unearned run last time out, 4 walks. So he is walking some people still, but for the most part, he has been skating out of damage and has not been allowing hits here. So he has been pitching really, really well. Mets minus 135, right around there, depending on where you're looking. Obviously, are you respecting the number for the Mets against this good Baltimore team coming in here?
I think the Baltimore team, and we talked at length here throughout the year, and when Baltimore was making their run, how the books were real bullish on the Yankees. They just weren't biting. And again, I'm not saying that the Orioles are fading. The Orioles will be one of the higher seeds in the American League. I'm starting to trust my eyes more. The Astros have caught fire, and their staff is not healthy yet. And Kyle Tucker, I went and got a half gallon of milk, and there was his picture on it. I mean, Jesus, it reminds me going back to Justin Jefferson last year in fantasy. I think in the first or second week, pulls the hammy, and he looks out and sees he's got bye week 10 or 11. He goes, yeah, I'll be back in 2 months. I mean, Kyle, would you go out for a loaf of bread, and where you been? But my point is, I'm starting to lose that lust and that trust in the Orioles. I won't dive into telling you to run to the window for the Mets today, but I trust the Mets at home in the offense here. I'll go with their team total over 4.5. I think they get to 5 or better. They've seen the Rogers a dozen times, or how many times it's been. I'll take the plus 105 on the Mets to get to 5 or better. That's first. And I'm going to have you pull up Mr. Alonso to go yard tonight.
I was trying to look at someone else's numbers on that one. Let's see. Pete Alonso, he does have 2 lifetime bombs against Trevor Rogers here. Pete Alonso. The other guy, plus 340 for Pete Alonso. Not bad. I was looking at someone else who has not been hitting home runs lately, but has decent numbers against Trevor Rogers himself. Plus 310 for a J.D. Martinez bomb.
There you go. And how about the cherry on top? What about Lindor?
Francisco, 340, plus 340.
There's your trifecta right there from I was going to say the Bronx, but no, we'll leave the Bronx for the Yanks. There you go.
Yes. Mark Vientos, plus 265 out of that game.
What?
Mark Vientos, plus 265 out of this game here.
Holy cow. Okay, so there you go. You go with the Viento, and then you put a little parlay together, Viento and Alonso, Viento and JD, Viento and Lindor. You get those 2, and you get a nice ticket at FanDuel, DraftKings, Prize Picks, wherever you go shopping.
Yeah, Vientos, I'm looking at a 6-game hitting streak. He had a 2 home run game during that stretch, so that's where his bombs are. But he is hitting it pretty well these last few days. So they are at 2 for 2 lifetime against Trevor Rogers. So they know something on that one with Mark Vientos there. That is that is an interesting one. That will catch your eye. All right, moving on. Pittsburgh and Texas. You've got Luis Ortiz and Dane Dunning. 4 earned runs last time out. Kind of a hit or miss, mediocre guy. Good start, iffy start here. Texas minus 160, though. They had looked like for a second they were going to try and fight back Texas this year, but have since kind of slipped back down to where they had been, 3-7 in their last 10. Pittsburgh themselves not playing well either. Any interest out of this one, or is this just these 2 teams are done for? I don't really want to see them at all in the future here.
They both got calendars set for October 1st. The only glimmer of hope, everyone in Pirate Land, we are family. when are they going to pull the plug on Paul Skeens? That is the big question. And there's some big Cy Young tickets out there. That has left the building, guys. Rookie of the year. There's a kid in San Diego that's probably saying, "Hold my beer," because he'll be playing mid to late September. And again, I talked to a good friend of mine, and we were just trying to figure it out. And his total innings in the minors and what he's got up in the majors. Here's what I think happens. He'll pitch this week and then maybe give him a potential double start coming up in their next homestand Labor Day weekend. Tip the cap to the crowd and say, "See you in April." That's just my gut. Unless they say, "Hey, we're going to pitch you once a week for the next 6 weeks. We're going to limit you to 5-6 innings. We'll give you 30, 35." I don't know how they're going to do it, but both teams getting ready for October, and that's meaning golfing in Aruba.
Yeah, and both teams, I mean, if they have the right offseason, they get healthy next year. Both teams could be players next season. I don't know what the Pirates have in store in the future, but you add a couple guys to this young talent pool that they've got. Rangers obviously get healthy and reload. They can be players again. Maybe the Rangers go the other way and dump some salaries too. That's obviously an option there. So interested to see those two are going to have some interesting off seasons there. Let's see. We go not in your neck of the woods, but Red Sox in Houston for this Astros team that we've talked about there. Houck versus Kikuchi. Kikuchi, since coming over to Houston, has been very, very good. 2 earned runs or less, 4 hits or less in all of these starts. I've seen Tampa 2 of those 3 times. In Texas, the Astros have won all 3 of those games here. Tanner Houck, very good last 2 times out. 6 hits, 2 earned runs allowed in his last start. So he has been pitching pretty well after a rough little regression stretch there. Any love for the Red Sox? Minus 145 for this hot Astros team doesn't seem like quite enough of a statement, my friend.
It's funny. They come into Fenway, they just kick us around like a can in the park. And you look at this game here, and Kikuchi, as great as he's been pitching, an overnight number, Riley, of 125. Now a corrected number of 145 at the Circa right now, plus 132 if you like the Sox. 8 over 15 cents. I'm looking at some team totals over here. The at bookmaker as we speak, it's a red 8, which means it could be moving. I know it's not going to 7.5, so it could be moving to 8.5. Anyone watching the show that likes the over, you might want to go run to that window now and get it before it might move to 8 and a hook as we speak. Red Sox team total 3.5 juiced over, and as they're listening, it went to yellow, so you can slow down now. It's not going to make that move there at the bookmaker as we speak. Red Sox team total 3.5 juiced over, minus 25 cents. A little unique one on this one. Houston team total 4.5 juiced under, minus 35 cents. So if you like the Astros today and you don't want to lay the 145, here's what I suggest. Run to the window, play their team total over 4.5. You can get that at plus 115. So we're taking a minus 145 favorite to a plus 115 favorite, and that's all they got to do, is get to 5 or better.
I like it, my friend. Moving on over to a maybe not a big series, but a good series, and 2 teams that even if things go poorly in this series, aren't going to be too hurt by it. But Twins and Padres, both teams at 70 wins here. Both teams kind of nipping at the heels of their division leader here. Twins kind of chipping away, and the Royals in the NAL Central chipping away at that Cleveland division lead here. Twins only 2 games out there, also in the wild card standing. I think the second wild card spot for the Twins there. Good series, 3 out of 4 in Texas there. San Diego coming off of losing 2 out of 3 in Colorado, but Padres minus 160 at home against this Twins team. Michael King on the mound, coming off of 6 innings, 7 hits, no runs, no walks, 10 Ks. So a lot of strikeouts in that last one from Michael King. He is getting some respect out of this one against Zebby Matthews. Start number 2 for him in his career in the big leagues here. Zebby Matthews, 24-year-old, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, a bomb, no walks, and 5 Ks last time out. So not a bad debut against the Royals, and a win for the Twins there. So a big spot for him in that first one. Getting some pressure on him in this playoff run here for Zebby Matthews. Still not trying to figure out too much what we're going to see from him. Only 77 pitches first time around. Probably going to be a little over 80 this time around here. So any love for the Padres as minus 160 favorites here at home? Is that enough respect for you there?
Well, Padres, again, back home. Unders. It's almost like Seattle at home. It's an autoplay to the under in the full game. Hats off to Matthews in his debut there. Mr. King has been very, very good at home. Overnight number of minus 160 now to 160 through 63. Excuse me. 7 over minus 20 cents overnight. Now 7 under minus 15 cents there. Team totals. Minnesota 3.5 juiced under minus 140. Padres 3.5 juiced over minus 35 cents. So I'll get cute here. If you like the Padres tonight, take them first 5 minus the hook and just get out of Dodge. If you like the Twins tonight, I suggest this way, and it's going to be a nail biter here. 3.5 juiced over. You can get that plus 120. So you can get them to get to 4 or better, and doesn't matter who wins the game, and they're going to give you plus 120 there. So if you like the Padres tonight, first 5 minus the hook at about even money, maybe even plus a little money. If you like the Twinkies tonight, just get them to 4 or better and get them at plus 120.
Not bad at all. Yeah, Twins have been kind of chipping away at this lead without a couple guys in their lineup too. Byron Buxton out for a few days here on the 10-day, so he should be back. What's today, the 19th? It's in a few days, I think. Maybe by next week, could see him. So they are a little slim on their lineup here. If you're interested in them, kind of slipping after a nice series in Texas, maybe Padres are the rightful favorites, obviously at home. But again, because of maybe a little regression from the Twins with this lineup here. So Mariners Dodgers last game of the night, my friend. Obviously a pretty good game. Mariners obviously 64-61. On the outside looking in after a great first half of the season for the most part there. Brian Wu on the mound for the Mariners. No earned runs, 4 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 6 Ks over 7 innings last time out. He was very, very good that time out. He has been real solid in a lot of spots here for them. Gavin Stone, good last time out as well. 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was a solo bomb at Milwaukee in a win here. He has been pretty solid. A couple of regression there in July and August, and seems to have leveled out a little bit here. Dodgers minus 135. Are we maybe a little smelly on this one? Maybe a little Mariners and Brian Wu love here tonight, my friend.
Woo, woo, woo! Yeah, this one stinks to high heaven. Overnight number, Dodgers minus 140. Stone's been great at home. He could have got the Mariners plus 120. Currently at the Circa, where my good friend Mr. Paul Weber and his lovely bride are in Vegas celebrating their anniversary, their 30th year anniversary. Mr. Paul Weber, if you are listening, congrats. And he's got a big night planned for him, I think in Thursday. I think he's got front row seats to Mr. Bruno Mars celebrating on their anniversary night there. But if you go to the Circuit today, tell Mr. Benson we said hello. Yeah, this one stinks to high heaven right now. At the Circuit currently, the Dodgers minus 130, Seattle plus 119, 8.5 juiced under minus 15 cents. ECSI VIPs, you know where I lean in this game here. It just smells to high heaven. And I'll tell you this, they're good at this because when you run and bet against the Dodgers, usually you get kicked in the you-know-what. Clayton Cy Kershaw was lights out yesterday. Now they come back home. Maybe the first game back after a road trip. Maybe that's why the number is here. I think this is the dog of the day. I like the Mariners today. I like Wu today. So again, plus 119 full game. You can get them first 5 at plus money, and you can get their team total over 3.5. You got to lay some juice there, minus 130, which we don't run to the window very often to do there. But I think the Mariners today are the dog of the day. And when you play the Mariners, what do you got to do? You got to run to the window and play a Kyle Riley homer, Mr. Riley. What is his odds?
Let's see. For that man, it is 330, plus 330. Not bad.
There you go. There's my home run in Seattle, Mr. Cal Riley, plus 330.
Another big one out of that one. Max Muncy, 220 for the Dodgers out of that game.
Welcome back, Max. What is this his first game back, or has he been back this weekend?
I don't know. That is a good question. Max Muncy. Let's see. Yeah, first game back, plus 220, man.
All right, so I think it was a week ago. Remember when Mr. Mookie first came back? We gave out that homer, so we'll flip it over there. Welcome back, Max Muncy, plus 220 homer as well.
I like it. Max Muncy homer, 220, and Cal Riley 330. You got your Mark Vientos 265. They were listening to us. JD went from 310 to 300, so they are listening over there in DraftKings too, my friend. So, yeah, I might throw a goofy pizza and beer laundry money crazy home run parlay tonight for $1 or $2. Who knows?
There you go. We'll have some fun here. Closing thoughts, sir.
Closing thoughts. Good show recap. Always great recap, and then touching on everything Monday evening, my friend. And in the future, it'll be nothing better than an NFL and college football recap show, my friend. On top of any UFC or whatever else might happen over a weekend. So we will have that sooner than later. And we've got 2 more weeks of great golf. We've got I don't know. I don't think anything crazy this upcoming weekend in the UFC, but there is. Some good fights nonetheless. Don't get me wrong there, but it's a few weeks. I think the next big one is the In the Sphere, the Sean O'Malley
Noche.
the headliner. Yeah, the Noche UFC in the Sphere in September. I am excited for that one. That one, if I could have front, I maybe you don't even need front row tickets at the Sphere. Who knows? You could probably have the worst seat, and it might be the best seat. I don't know. That place looks absolutely insane. And I hope we get some more sporting events in there. I don't know what other type of events we can do in there, but I hope they keep doing some good stuff in that Sphere because that thing is awesome.
Well, we're going to have to hit the lottery for that one. It is $5,000 just to get into the door, just to get through the door, excuse me. So, yeah.
Room, nice cool $5,000 for standing room. Yeah.
There you go. So Dana White doing wonders here. My closing thought, it's Monday. It's a new week. It's the new start of the week. 12 days, 11 days, maybe 12 days left in this month. You blink and it's gone. Week 0 already upon us for some college football. We will have football throughout the rest of 2024 on the weekends here as we take you through 2024 and obviously to 2025 here. ECSI VIPs, it's been one hell of a run. Low volume last week. We still won a unit and change, so we'll keep the envelope Mondays coming. Anyone curious what the ECSI VIPs it's about? It's our plays, our leans delivered to your cell phone via text and emailed every day. And if we take a day off, we'll send you a little, hey, how you doing? Enjoy family day. Enjoy the night off. We've been doing this now for over 9.5 years. January 1st, 2025 will be our 10-year anniversary. We want you to join the family for just $3 a day. That's $99 a month. It's your ECSI gym membership. How do you get there? Go to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. Top right corner, plans and pricing. You'll scroll right to the bottom there. You'll see the $99. Welcome to the family. That's it. I get your email. I send you the texts and the emails every day, 365 days a year, 24/7, 365 VIP experience, open door policy. So tomorrow is Tuesday. Me and Riley will be back at 5 o'clock. Scotty Webb will be back at 6:15 for In the Batter's Box. Wednesday, Brady Kannon back at 5 o'clock. Looking to go back-to-back on outright winners. Gamblou back Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern to talk about the UFC and Fight Night. And Friday, the return of the NCAA insiders. Matt Grissom, Quentin Mills talking some SEC. Live from the Circa, I think Matt Grissom will be in town there. As he said, Radio Row, and we're a part of that there. So from myself, Jeff Dawson, 1 o'clock. Sean Alvarez and the Travers. He'll be talking about the big race on the East Coast side this week, and then Del Mar in the Pacific next week. So, from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Riley Magnuson, at Riley_Magnuson1. We wish everyone a blessed day and evening. Good luck on the home run props, and go Seattle, go, and we will see you soon.